I thought there was something wrong with me.
We live in a world where most people spend their lives chasing success.
Your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Do you think artificial intelligence is artificial or alien intelligence? Welcome back to the Rise podcast. Now, it's been a while since I've been away for personal reasons and many reasons that I can't really share, but I'm glad to be back. Today's podcast is going to be focusing on conscious leadership. Because we live in a world where most people spend their lives chasing success, only to realize they're a cog in a system that feeds on their autopilot compliance. But here's a man that's with us today who has been embracing the coach title for a very long time and doing so very well. But I've seen a transformation in him, and I am so glad and honored to welcome Dr. Hatem Goucha.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You've been a top-tier executive coach showing people how to climb the ladder for such a long time. But during these geopolitical issues that the world has been bestowed upon, I've seen a change and a complete transformation in how you channeled your content during times where people were afraid. They were going through nervous system issues. And there you were talking to people about how to regulate that nervous system. Hatem, today we're not going to be talking about the coachy fluff. We're going to talk about what it is to be at the true essence of becoming a light worker, embracing that true title, which is not given to us by the world. It comes from a higher power. It comes from our true calling of what it is. Now, we've witnessed each other in various events, starting from the Global Citizen Forum at a dinner to you attending Rise, and then various other events. And something about you always got to me. I mean, you truly show people what it is to embrace innocence whilst having the wisdom to carry your tasks and doing it so well. And I think this is what the world of today needs, where more and more conscious leaders need to step up into their true calling. So let's get to it, shall we?
Let's do it.
As I said, we've crossed paths at Rise and various other stages. And I've watched your evolution from a distance. For those who know you as a high-level business coach, how would you describe this version of Hatem to others?
Thank you for the nice intro. I am still a coach. I'm a transformation coach. I help people become who they are meant to be. But with the new geopolitical situation, I felt called for a different duty, a more generalized duty to help people navigate through their fears, their anxiety, navigate through the uncertainty from what's coming in the future. We're still in it, or like day 52 or something like that. And I still do coaching, but I'm giving a lot of value and attention to reaching out to anybody who needs help through my Instagram posts and through my free classes. And it was truly a duty. I mean, I believe that if you have talent, if you have know-how, if you have a way to help people, it's a duty to help people. It's not. I don't take it lightly. I feel like I was through my experience, I was given opportunities to learn, and through my natural talent, opportunities to practice it. And it comes with it's a responsibility, right? It comes with an obligation to serve when called upon. So the last 2 months, pretty much, I have felt, like you said, that this light worker, which is brought to us by higher power, an inspiration, call it what you want. The universe asking you to step in and practice what you know is sacred, and it does look like I'm transformed. In reality, it's still my authentic self. It's just manifesting in a different way.
Correct.
Instead of being focused one-on-one on someone in the corporate world, who is, battling limiting beliefs or battling some conditioning from the past or battling their own demons sometimes. Now it's more anybody who is going through a very difficult time right now I do my best to help them, to teach them what is going on in their nervous system and their psyche, so that they get that aha moment that empowers them to feel like they have some control, at least over how they look at the things that are happening. And that's that simple. It's just being authentic. And what sometimes we forget that what you and I know about a lot of things, about how our bodies work, how our minds work, all the psychosomatic behaviors, very few people know that, actually.
Or practice.
Or practice
They may
it.
know, but it's hard to practice.
Or practice it.
And embody it. Yeah.
And explain it, yeah. So it was pretty effortless almost to share those ideas to the common people, the thousands, which is very rewarding, because I get comments that said, I feel better about things now, or now I understand why I do this, or wow, I thought there was something wrong with me. I get that one a lot. And then they realize, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, but we are in an extraordinary situation, and your body is used to the normal, and now you're like, oh, why am I still stressed? It looks like there is a ceasefire. Why do I still snap at people? Why am I irritable? Very basic questions.
Yeah.
And you have no idea how powerful that knowledge is to regulate a person, and for that person to become actually a source of soothing for others, because we co-regulate. So
100%.
Yeah.
And Rise's purpose was all about finding your authenticity in this world that we live in. During dystopian nature with AI coming on board, or wars that weren't really needed, and we all know it's a bit of a distraction.
It is
from the big thing. You mentioned something so well, where even with the ceasefire going on, people are still irritable. Do you think that it's because they feel helpless, that they can't really do anything, that they just feel like a cog in the system, and they ask for divine intervention when actually divinity is within us, and we can intervene with divinity, as you did, accepting that call?
Yeah, correct. I think that people are still irritable and tense for a physiological reason to begin with, which is when you instill a level of threat and stress, and it becomes chronic after a month, even when the outside stimuli are gone, your body is still carrying that message of threat. It does not stand down that easily. It's not like the mind that says, oh, we have a ceasefire, so now everything is fine. No, your body takes time. And it doesn't, you have to help your body by calming down, by talking, things are okay, I'm safe now, breathing exercises, gratitude, all of these things that I mentioned in my videos on my reels are what bring the body back down, aligned with the reality of things. So there is that element of it, but then there's also a cognitive element, which is some sort of loss of trust in the system. And when you read announcements that appear official, but then they're broken, you stop having faith in them. And this happened a lot in the early days of the war from both the U.S. and Iran. So it's a combination of physiology and also loss of trust.
Definitely. Do you think that this loss of trust is staged or devised so that people start to move more towards artificial intelligence and believe artificial intelligence? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. There is always the human element. I think that, yes, artificial intelligence has a role to play in this, as you intimate. But I think there is a loss of trust on the human level as well. Meaning some of the leaders in the world are not keeping their word, and that is very troubling to some people. Right? They flip-flop, and the tweeting and all of those really
Are we talking
impulsive,
about
impulsive statements.
certain blonde-haired leader?
Yeah, yeah, and it's not just that one person. It's also others who are jumping on the bandwagon.
Correct.
And I'm seeing some now about some dissonance between this part of a country and the other part. The military and the foreign affairs, and you wonder, okay, what's true, right? So the lack of trust is partly human, but also partly what is truth, right? And this is where AI comes into the picture here, where AI itself is not a human. So people think they're talking to a human, but they're talking to algorithms and to data from multiple sources. And sometimes they can say, okay, at least I know this person is not going to flip-flop on me. It's person, I say, right? It's just a machine. So we're living in a very special time where this lack of trust, AI, a lack of trust not just in people but in institutions, is all coming together. Mm-hmm. And we need to figure out on a personal level how to make sense of it, case by case.
Very well said. Do you think artificial intelligence is artificial or alien intelligence?
Yeah, it's a philosophical question. No, I'm pretty pragmatic about this. I believe that artificial intelligence is the consolidation of everything that anybody has ever written out there is studied, and certain pattern recognition go into the picture. Mm-hmm. And that's what we are seeing. Very fast pattern recognition that looks very intelligent, in part because it comes from humans. Mm-hmm. Now, next levels where our artificial general intelligence comes into the picture is when new ideas are created by the machine. And I'm not even sure if those are synthetic or original. It's an argument whether, even with AGI, is that still a higher level of consolidating ideas from human, mm-hmm. or can we talk about inspiration, for example? Mm-hmm. Like, is there original thought from the machines? That is still to be seen. For sure, the speed and the magnitude of what they can do can look like incredibly intelligent because it comes from very large number of people, and if you add up all their intelligence, it's pretty high. Yeah. And now you have it all at your fingerprints, at your fingertips. It's really nice.
That's really good to see. I mean,
I have a good relationship with AI.
Oh, definitely, me too. I mean, I have a love and hate kind of relationship. I always question things, and I've always looked at the world from a very different lens. And I think part of what I'm here to do is also to show people a different way of being, more sovereign, not giving away your agency to any new tool that comes into the picture.
Oh yeah.
And I think that comes from people having self-esteem issues where they take everything as the word, rather than actually asking themselves and using a little bit of critical thinking.
Yes.
Coming back to pattern recognition, as you mentioned, now you've built a reputation of helping people climb the ladder for a very long time. What's the one thing you've seen repetitively at the top of that ladder that finally made you say, wait, this isn't the finishing line?
First of all, sometimes I don't help people climb the ladder. I help them, first of all, figure out, are they climbing the right ladder? Okay. If they are climbing the right ladder, then when they get to the top, what usually happens, if they are like most people, is they realize, is there all that is? I mean, is that everything that I've been looking for? They get to it, and it's very disappointing. And it is because, and I lean a lot on what I learned from Tony Robbins on this. It is that like he did a recent interview with Alex Hormozi. It went viral because Alex Hormozi mastered the science of achievement, but did not master the art of fulfillment. And because he did not, he felt very disillusioned that with all this success, with all the money, with all the followers, with all the he's considered one of the top in his craft, he still feels very empty. And he said that. He said that to Tony Robbins, and Tony jumped in and it became a coaching session. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And he basically told him, you need to learn the art of fulfillment. And in the interview, right there and then, he helped him figure out there was a part inside of him that wanted to be happy, that wanted to laugh, that wanted to be silly, that he was repressing. And he said that is part of what you need to do, is figure out these elements that your soul wants to express. You have to let it be expressed. And that goes into a lot of my coaching as well. So when they get to the top, I help them with that.
You are definitely a sponge for knowledge. And I think you've probably attended pretty much every self-development event under the sun. We've ran into each other in quite a few of them. And I was like, there's a friendly face. But I have a question for you.
It's dual. It's for networking and for learning.
Of course. But I have a question for you on the personal development side of that industry.
Yeah, please.
Where does it stop being a tool for growth and start becoming another form of an autopilot system? Because you can go to multiple self-development events and still not really find what you're looking for. So what are your thoughts on that?
If you go to these events over and over and over again, and yes, you network, yes, you learn, but if you find yourself not practicing or doing the things that you learn in between the sessions, in between the seminars, then you are probably in a loop where you just go from one to the other. And your body will adapt, your mind will adapt, and will say, oh, I need more of this now, otherwise I can't do this. Or I need now to learn more about public speaking. And all along, without practicing it, which means that it's just knowledge. It's not embodied, it's not useful, and you end up in a spinning circle, in a spinning wheel in that way. So the right thing to do is, if you even prove to yourself that you have applied 10% of what you learn, then it's okay to keep going and seek others. So I mean, that's really the ultimate test, is are you just taking notes or are you practicing?
Very well said. Now, you've also, I mean, you would not take this because you're very humble, but I look at you as a bit of an expert in your industry. You know, when I thought about conscious leadership, the first name that came to mind was you, right? So I have a question for you based on that. How hard was it for you to stop being the guy with the answers and start becoming the guy who holds space for people to grow?
Very nice. Very good question. Coaches are questions people. They're not really answers people. So the more I give answers, like in this context, of course, it's okay, or in conversations, but when I'm doing my craft, when I'm in the middle of coaching, I'm focusing 99% on asking questions so that the other person is really thinking and digging into their past and trying to figure out what's going on. So that's the best way to avoid being sucked into I know the answers. Also, if you know the answers, then you're not learning anymore.
100%.
So this is why, meeting new people, finding new challenges is very humbling and very good for your growth, because you're constantly saying, yeah, I think I know the answers, but there's a twist here. There's a caveat, right? So what is that caveat? And at the right time, like in these Q&A with the free classes that I'm offering, having the answers is very important. That's why you're there for, right? So you have to find the right time to give answers and advice, and the time to be asking questions. And asking questions is one of the most prized talents and skills that anybody should develop. Learn to ask the right questions. If you ask the right questions, not only will you get answers from other people that will enrich you, but you will also get people to deepen their thinking and to really dig in themselves. And this is how people get aha moments, is when you ask the right question at the right time.
You said something about asking the right questions and actually not having all the answers, and people afraid of looking stupid. I met a scientist not too long ago, and he told me something which stuck with me. He said that you've heard of Gautam Buddha, the enlightened one, right? Now, the meaning of Gautam or Buddha means enlightened, but it stems from being Buddhu, which means dumb, right? If you think that you're dumb, is when you will ask the questions to become, at one point, Buddha, enlightened. But if you think that you have Buddhi, which means you're smart, that means you stop yourself from getting any more knowledge.
There you go.
So the way to become enlightened or spiritually enlightened is to know that you're dumb. And the more you know, the less you do.
That's correct.
Right? Coming on to that question, what was the most spiritually enlightened thing you've done in the latest time that now you look at back on and laugh?
You mean the dumb thing?
No judgment in this space.
Yeah, no. Yeah, dumb carries judgment. I like the word curious, right? Because curious means you can still know, but curious to know more. Moments like this usually happen when I'm talking with people and I say the absolute wrong thing, and it happens. You make an assumption, right? So it is so easy to mind read sometimes. It doesn't happen when I'm coaching. It happens when I'm in social events or family, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I know what they're up to, and I say something, and they're like, who do you think you are? I'm like, okay, I made a mistake.
Story of my life.
Yeah, I mean, those are very enlightening moments actually, because it reminds you that you were wrong. Right. It reminds you that you overstepped, that you assumed somebody thought something, which is silly. Right? There's no way anybody can guess. No matter how many years you live with someone, you cannot guess what's in their mind. Right? Just accept that. Once you accept that, it's empowering. You're like, okay, I cannot make any assumptions, so I'm going to have to ask. And the best way to read somebody's mind is to ask them. What are you thinking? You know, what's going on in your mind right now? Or what did you think when I said that? Those are wonderful questions you can ask every day, and you'd be surprised at what you're going to find out. Plus, people like to hear that because they feel important and they feel like what they're thinking matters.
Very true, very true. But I think there's one aspect of it, because you said something about somatic recognition and things as such. Now, that involves a lot of understanding what your body is telling you. Right, and you moved a bit away from the coaching aspect to what I've seen you embody right now, which is about nervous system regulation. But I have a question based on that. What kind of changes did you experience biologically when you embraced that side of yourself? Because nervous system regulation means understanding and listening to the nervous system rather than managing it.
Yes, yeah.
So please tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, get off from the mind and get into the body is something that is a journey, and I'm still at the beginning of the journey. And there's a thing called interoception, which is feeling things in your body, like feeling when you have a slight off feeling in a muscle or in a joint, or sometimes a tightness. Pay attention to these things because they are intelligent. Like your body is sending you a message, and we have learned to completely shut it off and to only focus on what we think is going on, or if we feel something, we take a pill and we kind of repress it. So the last 2 years especially, I have been focusing on improving my interoception by being more mindful about it. So every once in a while, I would start to feel my body. It started when I started going to pranayama classes.
Okay.
And it was fascinating. In pranayama classes, it always starts with taking stock of your body, naming parts of your body, and thinking about them. So sending your attention to your toes, or sending your attention to your calves. Right, and the person guiding you through pranayama, they go through the whole body. And it's an amazing exercise, because that is when you are paying attention to nothing else except that part that you're asked to look at and to think about. And when you think about it, you're sending energy to it. And that part of the body is sentient, and it's saying, okay, you're thinking about me, I'm good. Or, thank God you're paying attention to me. I am tense.
Yes.
Right? Or, I cramp up at night. So pay attention to me. Something is not right. That's the part that will then drive a better psychosomatic interaction. Mm-hmm. So you cannot induce your body to relax if you have never connected your mind to your body. And you do it through mindfulness. You do it through simple exercises like, okay, how am I doing? Like right now, where is tension in my body? Right, I can tell there's a bit of tension in my lower left back. Okay, maybe because of the pillow, maybe because I drove from Abu Dhabi, maybe because I didn't sleep well last night. So I just keep it out there. Okay, I have a little bit of tension in my lower left back. That's it. And then slowly, your body and your mind start trusting each other. And at the right time, when something really needs attention, you will know about it. All this tying back to your question, which is how does the mindfulness of the body help you become more wise, more useful to people, and it comes mainly by example. So in podcasts like this, people realize, oh, Hatem actually is making an effort for this, so I need to think about it. It must be something that, when he coaches me, we'll talk about it, right? And we start talking, okay, what does breathing do to your body? And breathing is very interesting, as you know very well, is one of the most effective ways for consciously affecting and imparting certain direction to the body, whether excitement or relaxation. You can do both, right? There's breathing that athletes do before they do a big jump, and that's to really get their body ready for it. So full excitement, for full priming of the muscles. And there's the kind that calms you down, which is what we're talking about a lot today. For, how do you calm down from being stressed for 30, 40 days because of a conflict zone? And that's really the body affecting the whole nervous system. Your breathing.
We talked about the geopolitical concerns that the world is currently dealing with. It's kind of a system that we're living in, right? Is it possible to be a conscious leader in a system that is essentially built on fear and scarcity? Or are we just trying to be woke in a Titanic?
Good question.
Or woke on the Titanic.
Woke on the Titanic. I think, yes, we can be conscious leaders in such a world and in such times. Actually, we must be.
Need to be.
We must be. We need to be, because people follow the example of people they admire. People follow the example of people who do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Because there is a part inside every one of us that recognizes when somebody does the right thing. It's instinctive. So we must continue to do this. Without knowing it, we are earning our place in the hearts and minds of people by just being authentic and doing the right thing. So yes, I think now more than ever, anybody who has an inkling of wisdom or of knowledge that they think is useful to the world, start displaying it. Go out there and post things on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or X or whatever you're on, that just says, today I saw something and I felt it was wrong, and this is why I felt it was wrong. And just by doing that, you are making a difference, because you are a voice that, instead of being shut down, you are actually being heard. And you have no idea how many people will actually be impacted by you just saying that.
Very well said. How do you manage to hold this level of frequency when you're surrounded in a room filled with people that are vibrating on levels of shame, guilt, anger, jealousy, envy? Because it's easy to put it out there that being a conscious leader is the path. But whenever people have tried to do that, they get shamed into place, they get put in that box. What is it that you do to maintain that frequency?
I don't know the full answer to that.
That's okay.
A lot of things I do instinctively. I believe that one of the elements of me being able to hold that frequency is introspection and a level of self-awareness that gives me the confidence to know when I'm doing the right thing. And when I'm doing the right thing, I feel empowered. I feel like it doesn't matter what's going on around me, keep doing the right thing, and that brings the right frequency. If you are not doing the right thing, if you are being one of the crowd, then you become affected by their frequency. So I believe that leaders, conscious leaders, effective leaders, are confident in themselves. They know themselves very well, and they know they're doing the right thing, and they just keep going, and people will follow. By people follow, I mean people will follow literally, like your leader, people follow you, but also they'll follow your frequency. They'll follow your way of being.
Correct.
That's what I meant by when I said if you say something that is the right thing to say, people will vibrate along with you. They'll say, I like that person, like he or she spoke their mind. And what they're saying really is, I feel the same way, I did not say it, right? That feels really good for
100%.
both people.
I think people are starting to sort of understand how to get away from the algorithm and following your own rhythm, and, in this time and age, because of all the groupthink mentality that comes into place. But, also part of being a conscious leader is to be okay with being polarizing, being okay with getting love from people as well as a lot of hate from others that feel like they are limited. My purpose and my journey has always been about showing people their own limitless potential. But when they are brought up in an environment where everyone has sort of put them in that space of, oh, you can't do this, or stop dreaming, or stop being delusional. Do you think it's important to be delusional?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes together with what I said about self-awareness. What may look delusional to someone is actually your dream, right? So if you're aware of that, then you doing the right thing is to follow your dream. And I love talking about following your dream, because if you actually do it, if you even start on that journey of following your dream, you gain some incredible power that comes from the congruence that you gain on the inside. And that's why delusional is a relative thing. There's no absolutely delusional.
Correct.
For many, many, many months and years, people thought Elon Musk was delusional. Until he landed a module back exactly where it's supposed to land, and people are like, "Oh, he's genius," right? So the line between delusional and genius is very thin.
That's the pattern thing that we talk about.
Yeah.
But speaking of following your dreams, you're a published author now, and I met you at the point where you were still figuring out what to write and getting more insight on things. I have a question for you on that. What is the secret you put in those pages that you were terrified to share, but you knew you had to?
The book "Become Who You Are Meant to Be" I opened up a lot in the book. I shared elements of my life, of my childhood, of my conditioning. It's not a biography. It's a set of lessons about how a person transforms from person A to person B, and what are the steps that usually happen to most people. Not all people, but most people. And while telling those lessons, I injected a lot of personal stories. And in injecting those personal stories, I had to ask permission from my family, and but it made me very vulnerable, and so. My thoughts, I shared private thoughts from the past, right? How I thought about something. That is so private. You have no idea how hard it is to write it, right? So for anybody writing, I know it's hard, but do it, because that's what makes your book very attractive, is that you were authentic and you wrote something that makes you very vulnerable, but more relatable. And people say, oh, I had a similar thought. I feel validated. I feel seen by reading my book.
I always say that if we're not here to be vulnerable with each other, then why are we here? How do you form a genuine connection with someone unless you're vulnerable with them and say, here's a piece of me that, I'm here, okay, sharing with you. And based on that, you can connect, as you rightly said.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then we'll also live in a world where people don't want to be vulnerable. And being vulnerable is known to be a weakness.
Absolutely. Back to the algorithm. We have been trained, even before the algorithms, we have been trained to impress others.
Yes.
That's the problem, is make your CV, make your resume look perfect. And now make your image look perfect. And now your algorithms have to be perfect. And you have to impress. You have to show yourself in your best light. I saw a beautiful performance by Alessia, and I forget her last name, at performance. And her performance while she was singing a song is she took off her wig, she took off her earrings while singing. She removed her makeup. She had people come and just completely remove her red dress. And she was in sweatpants and regular and continued to sing her song. And her song was about, you are perfect the way you are. And everybody in the audience, all actors, they were so blown away by how daring, how vulnerable, how authentic she was. And everybody realized the voice is the same. The voice has not changed. It was a very powerful song. And now she's not looking, made up and with a wig, with a perfect dress. I think this is where we need to go, is where this wonderful performer went. Be vulnerable, be yourself. Being yourself is a lot more valuable than being impressive. And being yourself means being vulnerable. And when you are vulnerable, you become a leader.
I saw this stand-up comedy of Jimmy Carr. I don't know whether you've heard of him, but he's probably one of the best, hands down, the most emotionally intelligent comedian I've seen, where someone came on stage and asked him, how do you be the best? He's like, don't try to be the best. Try being the only.
The only. Unique.
Right? Because you are unique, you have to embrace that authenticity. And if you follow the program, then yes, you might get, worldly success, but when you become authentically you shine a signal that has the ability to change the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I agree with Jimmy Carr there.
And that's exactly why
I would say that he touched on a very important point, which is by being unique, you are the best. Because no other person
can be you,
has that combination of talent and skills that you have.
Correct.
That doesn't mean you don't learn more skills. Of course, you need to continue to grow and contribute. But while in any moment in time, nobody has that perfect combination of skills and talents. And I attended the Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins in Köln last year. And he said something that really, really stayed with me. He said, you have talent and skills to serve people that only you can serve. Right? Tony Robbins cannot serve 8 billion people.
100%.
Right? At best, he can serve 10 million, 100 million, maybe a billion if he's a super star. But there are pockets of people that are waiting for you, no matter what you're doing, whether it's coaching or image branding or anything you do. There are people that speak your language, know your beliefs, have very similar conditioning, will trust you more than any other expert in the world in that area because you are who you are. So that's the message I convey, and it stayed with me from Tony, and I will pass it on, that you are special and unique as you are. And there are certain people that are perfectly tuned to benefit from your uniqueness. Find them.
I have no words to add to what you said because you articulated it really well.
Thank you.
Many people are terrified of the future right now. Is this fear justified, or is that fear being harvested to keep them in an autopilot state?
In a way, it is. I don't think it is like a planned like this to make people uncertain about the future. I think that there are other forces at play for what is going on. A lot of greed, a lot of desire for power. However, the result for people is, like, we all have thresholds of what we consider uncomfortable level of unknown and uncertainty. And there are levels of uncertainty that go way beyond your threshold. And when that happens, you panic. And this is what's happening. Like if I can handle this much, if it gets to this much, even I will start being anxious and fearful. And I think right now the uncertainty is so high with prices of everything, with danger, with instability, with people losing their jobs, with at the same time that AI has already been threatening their job, or so they think. It is totally fair and totally understandable, and I don't want to gaslight anyone. It's okay to be scared right now. It's okay to realize this is more uncertainty that I can handle. But there are ways to increase the threshold in you, and that's what you can work on. That's the part you can control. Teach your nervous system to raise the threshold at which it just panics. And that's what I do in the free classes that I teach, is how do you use emotional regulation, how do you use your body, how do you use cognitive perspective and reframing to raise the level at which you can handle it on a daily basis.
I've been on this path of following my guidance, following my instincts for as long as I can remember. I always say to people that we never know what tomorrow brings. But you're in a much better position to deal with the unknown by knowing who you are, right? Because when you know who you are, you know, okay, it's never going to be certain. Anything post our next breath is uncertainty, right? We plan, we have all these big dreams and all these things that we concoct in our head of things that will never actually happen.
Full calendar.
Yes, that will never actually happen because you never know what would happen. Like I was traveling not too long ago for a short period of time. Turned out I was stuck outside for 2 months.
Oh my God.
Before having to come back.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was like, okay. When I was online, as when I saw your videos, I'm like, thank God there is someone there holding that frequency for people. And there was that one video where there was actually a blast that happened whilst you were there. And you literally, in real time, regulated yourself.
I did, yeah.
And you showed people what it is to be non-reactive.
Yes.
And becoming mindful of that.
While being human.
Of course. I mean, we're learning this human condition of what it is to be here. I think the end game of all of us is to at some point become sovereign individuals.
Yes.
Which means ungovernable. Which also means that you're going to go past a lot of restrictions that are imposed, based on culture, based on religious beliefs, based on programming of what we see online and the dystopia that's going on. With all that's going on, what is the one advice you would give to the young generation that are stepping into roles of leadership to follow in these times?
I love youth. I love young minds. When I go speak to high schoolers, which I do sometimes to help them with the stress of choosing their courses, I love how intense they are. And actually, I believe that they have much better philosophy of self and of life than we do. So I'm actually confident that today's youth is going to generate better leaders. The one advice I would give them is like re-listen to this podcast because it's filled with these nuggets that you asked me about, mostly centering about being yourself, being authentic, and recognize your uniqueness and your talent, and don't downgrade it. Don't reduce anything from what you have, which doesn't mean you still need to continue to improve and to learn more. But as you are, without learning all those new things, you are perfect. And to understand that you are like that and to continue to want to be more is the secret for conscious leadership and for effective leadership. That's the advice I would give the youth today. Be yourself, know how powerful you are, continue to grow and to learn new skills, no matter what happens, whether it's AI happening or robotics or conflicts, it doesn't matter. Find your place, recognize who you are, develop your self-awareness. In my book, I talk about self-awareness a lot. In chapter 2, I explain how to develop self-awareness and how important self-awareness is. Know thyself is a 1,000-year-old advice beyond that, actually, beyond the Greeks. So yeah, that's the advice. Know yourself, trust yourself, be authentic, and you will succeed.
Very well said. I have one final question on you, and then we can talk a little bit about other things. Looking at the horizon, it really feels like the goalposts are shifting faster than most people can process. We're seeing European nations capping cash withdrawals, and we've heard the WEF narrative where you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Now, we don't own anything, and life is on rent. But the way they frame it and the way they say it, there is a little bit of a sinister outlook from what I see. Because we see a lot of investment going towards AI, whilst there are people dying of starvation and dehydration. This really shows the need to be more conscious and actually confront those people and say, what you're doing doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like you're inviting people towards our extinction, right? Mm-hmm. My question is this the inevitable destination of the current system, or are these just litmus tests to see how much encroachment we'll tolerate before we snap? Do you think the Great Reset narrative is the absolute plan, or is it just the bait to see if we're awake enough to notice the trap?
I think we are already snapping. I believe that I don't believe there is like a, like the Godfather, the Mario Puzi's. I don't think there's people like moving things around. I don't believe in all those plots and Illuminatis and all of that. I believe that there is a general collective consciousness that is a thing where people impact each other by trying to impress each other and having more power, more greed. And it leads to some place that looks like a plot, but it's not. It's just we have lost the plot. And I believe that more and more people, especially the younger people, maybe us a little bit, we have a little bit of play still, are going to slowly, grassroots, become sovereign of our own lives, starting with our own selves, our families, our spouses, our children, our neighbors, and slowly develop the kind of life that we want to have. And it will grow from small pods to communities to hopefully countries, nations. And I believe that everybody dies, right? So there's a class of people that in 20, 30, 40 years will be either retired or passed on. And I trust that the people who will step into those roles are going to be better, more conscious people than we have seen so far, who will pay attention to what AI does, who will pay attention to people who are starving, who will pay attention to people who can't have clean water, who are paying attention to removing plastics from the rivers. There's a very young 20-year-old Swedish or Danish young man who developed this incredible barge technique that is doing a great job at removing, hundreds of tons of plastic per month from the 7 most polluted rivers. That is the kind of leadership that you and I, our generation, did not have, and now I'm seeing it.
Yeah, and that shows hope, right?
Oh, it is absolutely. This is why I want to impart as much wisdom onto the young minds that come across my way as possible, to help to pitch in. So after I'm gone, at least I've left some wisdom from the previous generation that they can build on.
They say that a man or any person in form of leadership dies twice.
Yeah.
First, when they leave their physical vessel, and the second time is when their name is spoken for the last time.
Yes.
That's when you're forgotten, and that's when you go, and your legacy goes away.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. I mean, this is something I don't ask any of my guests, but you're someone I trust with this. If there's one question you always wanted to ask me, but never could, or you thought about it later after we met, what would it be?
Who do you aspire to be ultimately?
Oof. I actually don't have an aspiration. What I'm here to do is guide collective consciousness and raise it, and go beyond all means to do that. See, I am a strong and firm believer of I despise people that try to play God. We're off God. And once we remember that, that's it. That's when everything shifts.
Good.
And I think back then when I was less conscious, I was trying to fix everything and hold everything together and trying to control everything. when I let go and I surrendered, especially a lot to do with my own breath.
Yeah.
When you focus on your breath, you are living in the present moment. That means there is no past, there is no future. You're in the now.
Just now.
You give people your full essence, the full force of it. And maybe back then I was worried of being too much.
Yeah.
Now I don't care. Now I'm more of, okay, you can judge me as much as you want, but the level of self-reflection that has gone in isolation, in trying to understand why is it that we do the things we do? Why is it that we create the issues in our lives and then complain about them? How do we get out of a victim state and understand that we're actually survivors?
Yeah.
You and I, people like us, have seen the world before Facebook, before Instagram.
It's true.
Right? Where we used to go out, play, not give a damn, and probably have our parents complain. That was me, by the way. Complain like, when are you going to come home?
Yeah.
And now I look at people, they don't want to get out. They don't want to leave. They, and even if they do, they've got a camera on all the time, streaming things as such.
Yeah.
And I feel if one thing I'm supposed to be remembered for is to show people there is only one thing missing in all of us collectively. That is healthy self-esteem. When you have healthy self-esteem, nothing in front of you, even if it's the devil, can try and pull you down into that frequency. You'd be like, hold on, but you were casted away. Who are you to tell me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is the point, and that's where
That's a sovereignty you're talking about.
It's the sovereignty aspect of it. And if that means that, I'm wearing a suit, expensive watch, shoes, having a nice car, nothing changes when all of that is taken away from me.
Absolutely.
I'm going to still be arrogant if people want to perceive it as that. I'm going to be polarizing as that. Just someone that looks beyond the veil and isn't afraid to be called crazy. That's the kind of permission slip I like to give people.
Good.
To follow their dreams, to be them, their authentic self in the entirety of this existence.
Well said.
Oh.
Thank you. So you aspire to be you, really.
That's
Just
pretty
be the
much
authentic you, and that's an amazing thing to aspire for. Is to aspire to be congruent. What's on the inside is exactly what's on the outside.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. You are fulfilling your mission. It's that simple.
Exactly that.
It's that simple. And you still have to learn and study and develop new knowledge, new skills,
network.
Learn how to speak to people, learn how to listen, learn how to public speak, network, learn how to be pleasant so that people want to be around you. All of that is necessary. I'm not saying be a jerk, but deep down, all of that should not sway you away from who you really are.
Correct. I think the part of the yin and yang is do no harm, but be okay with not taking any shit.
Correct.
And that's the one thing I've seen people struggle with.
Yes.
And I think part of what we do as light workers, as people that are here to uplift people and inspire them, is exactly that.
Yeah.
Yes, you're doing no harm, but are you okay with not taking any shit and standing your ground firmly?
And that is correct, yes. And are you speaking your mind, really?
Correct. And your heart.
Yeah.
That's what connects us the most.
Yep.
Hatem, it is always a pleasure to run into you. You are someone that uplifts vibration. I can feel this room feeling a lot lighter in your presence.
Thank you.
I think that in the future, our paths will cross where we will build something better for the world to see. I'm questioning whether I do another Rise edition. There was supposed to be one, but due to various reasons, it didn't happen. Maybe it wasn't the time for it. But I think there is now more need for more of us to come together collectively and build on that community and see how we help each other and grow. Because it's about time that we stop trusting people that we've given blind authority to.
Yes.
And bring that authority back to
Absolutely.
ourselves.
Absolutely.
And walk this path.
This is why I said if you decide to organize another one, I'm here to help you. I'll be there with you.
We've got you on camera now.
Yeah, promise.
Hatem, thank you so much.
You.
As always,
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.